Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Welcome. Today we are going to read from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 37. Yatada grevisham eva pariname mitropamam tatsukham sadvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Translation. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. In this chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is giving many examples of the three modes of nature. So it's goodness, passion, and ignorance. And this is a very interesting topic for everyone because it's happiness and how we obtain happiness. And even happiness and the way we obtain it has these categories. In the mode of goodness, happiness in the beginning seems like poison, but then as the practice continues, one experiences nectar or pleasurable result. And this is very easy to see in anything that's worth doing in this world. If you want to become, for example, very good at playing a musical instrument, in the beginning, I don't know, things like a violin or a complicated instrument is very difficult to play. And the fingers hurt, and the sound is very uncomfortable. There's no accuracy. So in the beginning, the practice of learning violin is very painful, and the sound is a little uncomfortable for everyone. And then one practices and becomes expert, and that after the expertise is achieved, then the sound is very beautiful and very pleasurable to hear. Everybody wants to hear, oh, play the violin, please play. So in the same way, the spiritual life, which is based on the mode of goodness, has similar tendency. In the beginning, we might have so many restrictions that stop eating meat, stop having illicit sex, stop taking drugs and drinking wine and all these things. So they seem like a little extreme for most people, but although it's a little apparently like poison, when we experience that for a certain period of time consistently, then we experience a much more healthy lifestyle, much more higher kind of pleasure. So that's happiness in the mode of goodness. The verse 38, Krishna says, that happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be in the nature of passion. So this is where most human beings are in this world, in mode of passion, which is, I'm going to get this particular object that is very enjoyable, and then I enjoy it now, but then after having the object, then it is actually more painful to keep it or to maintain it and to just live like that. And this is exemplary in the United States because people will work really hard to buy an expensive house, for example, and they get into 30-year credit debt mortgage thing, and they will have to work really hard for 30 years and pay every month a weekly fee, and then the fee increases like forever. And the person, for that immediate idea that, oh, I have this beautiful house and this is very enjoyable, the senses feel very comfortable that I have air conditioning and this service or that other service. The happiness in the mode of passion appears very nice in the beginning, but then as the economy starts failing, and then one has more debts, and then something fails, and then to maintain that place becomes a huge burden. So that is typical mode of passion. That appears very nice in the beginning, but then it's poison at the end. And then foreclosures, and then the bank is chasing people to pay, and it's just nasty. Which all that could have been avoided if one could just buy a simple house made of earth, simple building, which it could be 10 times more beautiful if you know how to do it. It's cheaper, but there's that idea of status and all that. That's typical mode of passion. So let's see the happiness in the mode of ignorance. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and delusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance. So this is the worst kind of happiness, because one suffers in the beginning and one suffers in the end. Typical example is alcohol, because one takes alcohol and immediately the intelligence is lowered, the senses are dull, one can't even drive a car. And then the next day the headache, and there's so much pain, it's just horrible. So this kind of happiness is in the mode of ignorance, and I've heard many people in the mode of ignorance also say that if it was me, I would just sleep all day, close the curtains to my room and just sleep and sleep and sleep. So that kind of activity is not going to help you at all in self-realization, because self-realization requires you to be conscious, awake, and to look within yourself to see who you really are, who is God, and all these things. So the happiness in the mode of ignorance is just poison in the beginning, poison in the end. It's just bad. Passion is poison in the beginning, nectar in the beginning, but then poison in the end. And happiness in the mode of goodness is poison in the beginning, but happiness in the end. And you see, anyone who has achieved anything of value in this world, again, they have done it in that kind of mode of goodness. There's a period of sacrifice, becoming expert, learning the tools, mastering something. And then there's the beautiful part, which is the performance of an expert, the artist, the mature artist. So these are the categories. And if one is found in one of these, passion or ignorance, then one should try to elevate that. I am in this ignorance thing, so I should get out of that. I should look for happiness in the mode of goodness. That will make me free and will help me know myself better. Another very common example is in corporations, because someone will say, I will just get a job and I'll get my paycheck and I'll just work for this company forever. But then they don't have anything of value of their own. They don't have any self-sufficiency or anything, even freedom. If I want to go to have a vacation tomorrow, I can't do it. I have to ask my boss and apply and all these things. So this apparently seems very easy, just get a job and get paid. But actually, that person who makes the effort to start a business or to become self-sufficient, independent, he has so much more freedom later on, because he can leave his business, travel, and like that. So in spiritual life, it's exactly the same thing. If we follow the process of learning ourselves, developing our relationship with God personally, and making it very strong, being very well educated, making the effort to practice seriously our daily routine, then we achieve those beautiful results. There's many people who take spiritual life in that mood of passion and ignorance, and they think, why am I not making any progress? Well, because they're looking for this kind of happiness of a lower grade. And the happiness in the mode of goodness is still considered material, so one should even transcend that and achieve the state of pure goodness. And this is a happiness of a higher degree, in which even our own happiness doesn't matter so much, or doesn't matter at all, but only the happiness of the beloved one, which is Krishna, God. And that is a higher state. So we take it again gradually. we raise ourselves, ignorance, passion, to goodness, and then from goodness we transcend that to pure goodness. If you have any comments or questions, please visit our website, thevedikway.org. Thank you. Hare Krishna.